There was this Haitian woman, and she lived in Versailles, and we would go visit her. And I was in maybe my fifth or sixth transfer, but I was training two sisters, and one was from France, so she helped me a lot with the French. And then the other one was Sister Hill, and she's from Utah. But I just remember us thinking, this woman, she's making no progress. She loves the Bible, but she's been taught everything, and we just can't get her to move forward. And so we went, and we were like, all right, we're just going to lay down the law. We're going to tell her, this is how it is. Will you be baptized? And we went in and we prayed, and I think the Spirit, it was just so strong. And there are definitely times on your mission where, the Lord just helps you so much with what you have to say. And I spoke well, but it wasn't perfect by any means. And we were teaching her, and I was like, okay, I have to be bold. And so I kind of went off on a little rant. And we left, and it was a great lesson, and we left, and my French companion was like, do you know what you just said? And I was like, did I say something wrong, She's like, no. She's like, your French was perfect. She was like, it was so great. And I was like, oh. And then it never happened again, of course, because, French is not easy, but I just remember that being such a great experience with learning about just being bold, because that's how people progress. And so she didn't end up accepting, and I'm not sure if they're teaching her anymore, but she definitely had a spiritual experience, and she loves us. So hopefully one day she'll get there. Okay, I do have an experience. It was in the MTC, but my companion was Albanian. And so when I got the little card that had her name on it, I just thought, I have no idea where this name comes from, but it's not America. And so I had a really thick Southern accent before my mission. I still kind of have it, but it definitely died down. And so I just remember the first day I walked into class, and I was like, hey, I'm your companion, and my name is Sister Sorensen. And she just stared at me like she had no idea what was going on. And I was like, where are you from? Asking her the normal questions. And she didn't speak any English. And she spoke a little bit of French, so that helped, but I didn't speak any French. And so it was just so funny. We had the funniest experiences, because I would really try to sign language, or talk really slow, or we'd have our Albanian, English, and French preach my gospels out, and I'd just be pointing to words while all of the other people in my district were just, planning their lessons. And I was like, okay, we're going to teach this, and then we're going to teach this. And she'd be like, okay. But it was so funny. We had the worst communication, but we loved each other, so it was fun. So I was training a sister. Her name was Sister Hill, and I just love her so much. And we just had the funniest times together. And of course, I won't tell all funny stories, that happened between us, but we set a goal when transfer that we would wake up at 6:30 normal time, and we'd just roll out of bed and start praying, and we'd pray together. And then we'd say our personal prayers. And so we had this couch in the middle of our beds. And so we would just roll off, and we'd sit there, and she would pray, or if it was my turn, I would pray. And I remember one night, it's 3 a.m. I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I got back in my bed, and I turned over, and 10 seconds later, I hear her praying. And I was like, what is she doing? And she was just mumbling our companionship prayer. And I just died laughing. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm praying. And I was like, it's 3 a.m, And she was so, I think I sounded meaner than I wasn't actually that angry. But the next morning she was like, you were so mean to me last night. But it was so funny.